Welcome to Reddit Confessions.
I found her secret photoshoot board, and I booked my own session to expose her on camera. I didn't scream. I didn't even confront her. I just smiled and started planning the perfect shot. My name's Trevor. I'm 28. Accountant. Low-key guy. Loyal to a fault. Or so I've been told. I keep things neat, spreadsheets, routines, my marriage. I thought that meant something. I thought that made me safe. Cassie? She's 27. The kind of woman people stare at in coffee shops and assume she has her life together. Blonde waves, perfect nails, influencer energy even when she's just grabbing oat milk. Online, she's all motivation quotes and beachside selfies. At home, she wears my hoodies and talks about wanting a French bulldog named Pinot. We've been married almost 3 years. No kids yet. Just our quiet little life in a coastal town where golden hour makes everything look better than it really is. Date nights on Fridays. Pancakes on Sundays. Her phone face down on the table more often than not. It started with an anniversary idea. I wanted to surprise her, frame our favorite wedding photo. That cliffside kiss, the one everyone kept saying belonged in a magazine. I went digging through our shared files. No luck. Then I remembered the Pinterest board we used back when we were planning the wedding. I opened the app on her iPad, something we always shared, and that's when I saw it. A board I'd never noticed before. Untouchable. Locked. No preview. No description. I almost backed out. Almost. But I tried a code. Our wedding date. 0619. The screen blinked. The board opened. And I saw everything. Cassie. Half naked. Draped in lace and shadows. Each photo was professional. Studio lighting. Edits. Filters. Her poses weren't awkward. They were confident. Practiced. Erotic. And every single one was watermarked. Jude Serrano Photography. That name hit me like a slap. Jude. The guy who shot our wedding. The one she called artsy hot. I remembered how she laughed a little too loud at his jokes. How his hands lingered too long when posing her for shots. I kept scrolling. Cassie on a velvet chaise. Cassie with her lips parted and her eyes daring the lens to blink. Cassie in a pose I'd never seen. A stranger in her skin. The file names had dates. 03, 17, 24, 04, 23, 24, 05, 08, 24. All of them lined up with the nights she said she was working late. I just sat there, staring at the screen, my pulse trying to climb out of my throat. The shower turned off. She stepped into the room wrapped in a towel, her hair dripping. "You okay?" she asked. I nodded. "Yeah, just thinking. About our anniversary," I said, trying to remember which photo you loved most from the wedding. She smiled. "That cliffside one. Jude really nailed it." Yeah, Jude nailed a lot more than just the shot. That night, while she slept, I stayed up in the dark, scrolling, memorizing, planning. If she wanted to play pretend for the camera, I'd give her the performance of her life. Every photo looked like it belonged in a magazine. If the model wasn't my wife, I couldn't stop looking, even when it hurt. That night, after she'd fallen asleep beside me, curled up like she always did, breathing soft, stealing all the blanket, I crept out of bed with the iPad in hand. I sat on the floor in the hallway, outside the bathroom, with the door closed and the fan on. Just me, a cold tile floor, and the perfect life she'd been living. I scrolled, one photo after another. They weren't just sexy, they were styled, posed, professional. This wasn't a one-time thing. This was a portfolio. Cassie in lingerie. Cassie with tousled hair and glossed lips. Cassie in a silk robe, falling off her shoulder like it had a story to tell. The lighting changed. The backdrop shifted. Different angles, different moods. Moody black and whites. Neon-lit shadows. One in a bathtub with flower petals floating around her like some kind of perfume ad. There were no props. No distractions. Just her and Jude's lens. And his watermark. Always his damn watermark. Jude Serrano Photography. Bottom right corner, every time. Branded, like he owned her. I opened the file info. The dates hit me like bricks. 03, 17, 24. That night, she said her team was pulling a late pitch meeting. 04, 23, 24. Supposedly at her boss's birthday dinner. 05, 08, 24. Girls' wine night, she called it. Every timestamp lined up perfectly with a lie. I thought back to those nights. The text updates. "Don't wait up, babe." Still at the office, love you. Wi-Fi's trash here, I'll call tomorrow. She hadn't just made up excuses. She scheduled them. Like photoshoots were part of her planner now. Like Jude was a standing appointment right between hot yoga and facial day. I opened one close-up. She was staring straight into the camera. Hair wet, eyes smoky, lips parted just enough to whisper something you'd never forget. I never saw her look at me like that. And the worst part? She looked happy. Not posed. Not fake. Just free. Like whatever life she had in that studio was the one she actually wanted. I closed the app. Sat in silence. For the first time in our marriage, I didn't know who I was married to. It wasn't the betrayal that stunned me most. It was the planning. The repetition. The control. The way she kept smiling at me through it all. The anniversary trip she wanted to book. The cute dog memes she sent me. The way she'd still ask me to rub her feet while we watched Netflix. Like none of this was happening. Like she could live two lives without blinking. And maybe she could. Maybe she'd done it before. But not anymore. Because now I had proof. And I had a plan. I pulled out my phone. Found Jude's old contact from our wedding folder. Same number. Same website. Same smug profile photo. Him holding a vintage camera like it was an extension of his ego. I clicked book a session. Under the fake name, I wrote, Trevor D., looking for something cinematic. Emotional. Private. And in the notes, I added one line. Do you specialize in betrayal? The next morning, Cassie made coffee like nothing had changed. Kissed my cheek. Talked about maybe dyeing her hair lighter for the summer. I smiled back. She had no idea I'd already started framing the shot that would destroy her perfect little picture. Tell me again how your meeting went last night, I asked, watching her smile through her teeth. We were sitting across from each other at our favorite spot, La Brezza, a candlelit Italian place we always saved for special occasions. Cassie wore that red wrap dress I once called dangerous. Now I knew I was right. She didn't flinch. Didn't miss a beat. Oh, it was good, she said, twirling linguine like she had nothing to hide. We're rebranding the whole campaign. Took forever to get everyone on the same page, but we got there. I sipped my wine and let the silence stretch. She filled it. You should have seen my boss, though. She had this meltdown over fonts. Like actual fonts. I thought she was going to throw a chair. A practiced laugh. The kind that kept secrets buried. I leaned back. What time did you wrap up? She blinked. Just once. Around 10, I think. Maybe later. I was exhausted when I got in. I nodded. You were glowing when you walked through the door. She tilted her head. Glowing? Yeah. I paused. Let my eyes hold hers a little too long. Like you just got off a runway. A flicker. Barely there. But I saw it. That flash of is he onto me? She recovered fast. Guess I was just happy the pitch didn't crash and burn. I took another sip of wine. It wasn't enough to call her out yet. Not here. Not now. Tonight wasn't about confrontation. It was about observation. About watching the cracks form. Slowly, beautifully, until the whole thing collapsed. You ever hear from Jude? I asked casually, reaching for the breadbasket. Her fork froze in midair. Jude? She echoed, like I'd just mentioned a ghost. Yeah, I said, breaking a piece of focaccia. Our wedding photographer. Wonder what he's up to. She laughed, too fast. God, no. I mean, he was great and all, but no. Why? I shrugged. Just popped into my head. She glanced down at her plate. Well, if I ever need another set of wedding photos, I'll let you know. I smiled. Let's hope we don't get remarried anytime soon. She smiled back, but it didn't reach her eyes. The waiter came by. We ordered dessert. Her phone buzzed once, then again. She flipped it face down without checking it. Classic Cassie move. But I noticed the preview light up just long enough to catch the name. Jude. No last name. Just the initial. I took a slow breath. Cut into the tiramisu she pretended to enjoy. So who's Jay? I asked, keeping my tone light. She blinked again. Huh. Jay, the guy texting you. She gave the perfect wife smirk. Jesus, Trevor. You're watching my phone now? You left it face up last night. I saw the notifications. Another pause. Another microsecond too long. Oh, that's just Jess. From the PR team. I leaned in, dropped my voice. Right, Jess. From the PR team. She shifted in her seat, suddenly interested in the melting tiramisu. I trust you, I said softly. You know that, right? She nodded. Of course. Good, I said, draining my wine. Because lies have a way of showing up in the worst places. Her head snapped up. but I was already asking for the check. We drove home in silence. She scrolled Instagram. I stared out the window. The air between us had changed. Not explosive, not yet, but heavier somehow. That night, while she brushed her teeth, I scrolled through her Instagram followers. Jude's profile was private, but I still found it. Same smirking profile pic. Same tagline. I capture what others fear to see. Well, Jude, I was about to show you something real scary. Cassie climbed into bed beside me and kissed my cheek like she always did. Like everything was fine. Night, babe, she whispered. Good night, I said. Her phone buzzed. A soft little vibration on the nightstand. She didn't notice, but I did. Cassie was in the bathroom, humming as she did her skincare routine. I was lying in bed pretending to read, but I heard it. One buzz. Then another. I glanced over. Just a peek. The screen lit up with a preview. Same time next week? Jay? I didn't breathe. Didn't move. Just watched that message burn itself into my skull. Same time next week. So this wasn't a one-off. Wasn't some impulsive lapse she regretted. This was scheduled. Routine. A standing appointment with the man who used to photograph brides. Now he photographed mine in secret. And she still came home to me. Brushed her teeth in our bathroom. Crawled into my bed. That night, when she finally dozed off beside me, phone still unlocked, her fingers loose around the blanket. I picked it up. I wasn't proud of it. But I wasn't sorry either. I scrolled through her messages. Most of it was fluff. Work chats, meme threads, influencer group DMs. But when I searched Jude, it popped up like it had been waiting for me. Just J. No last name. But the thread was full. Of dates. Poses. Times. Compliments. You looked electric today. Let's go bolder next time. I keep thinking about that backlight shot. And from her, I trust you completely. God, you make me feel like someone else. Let's shoot something darker. Riskier. That one made me pause. She didn't talk to me like that. Never had. It was like reading a script from a movie I hadn't been cast in. There were attachments too. Draft contracts. Booking schedules. Payment splits. He wasn't just photographing her. He was turning her into something he could sell. Something he could own. She'd signed his model release form. Let him use the images for promo. Let him tag her Instagram handle. She never posted any of them. But she let him post. And suddenly I remembered. A few weeks back, a friend sent me a moody photo from a wedding photographer's page, raving about the lighting. I hadn't noticed then. Hadn't looked close enough. But now I knew. That woman on the couch, back arched, lips parted, that was my wife. And now, I had his number. I copied it, typed it into my phone, then deleted the thread, locked her phone, set it back exactly how I found it. Cassie rolled over and mumbled something in her sleep. I stared at the ceiling, letting the coldness settle into my bones like cement. The next morning, I told her I was thinking about a couple's shoot. Her eyes lit up. Really? Yeah. Something dramatic. Anniversary vibes. Maybe even artsy. She smirked. Wow, look at you. I shrugged. Figured I'd let you be the pretty one for once. She laughed, reached for my hand, and kissed my knuckles. I wanted to rip my own skin off. That afternoon, I texted Jude. Hey man. Name's Darren. Looking to book a private couples session. Something intimate. Dramatic. Real vibe-driven. He responded 20 minutes later. Hey Darren. Love that style. Got a slot next Thursday. Let's create something unforgettable. Yeah, let's. I sent over the deposit. Gave him a fake name. A burner email. Then added a note. Can we do a dramatic reveal moment? Something explosive? His response. Always. Jude didn't recognize me, but he knew my wife better than I ever did. The studio smelled like cedar and incense. Minimalist furniture. Industrial lights. A soft jazz playlist hummed in the background, like Betrayal should be accompanied by saxophone. He walked out from behind a black curtain, all confidence and curated stubble. Black jeans. Fitted shirt. That damn vintage camera slung around his neck like it was part of him. You must be Darren, he said, offering a hand. Appreciate the punctuality. I took his hand. Firm. Too firm. Wouldn't miss it. Where's your partner? He asked, glancing toward the door. Still parking. She's running late, I said. But we can start prepping. Totally, he said, already walking toward his setup. Any particular mood you're aiming for? I looked around the room. The lighting rigs. The velvet couch. The black floor panels. Everything felt familiar, because I'd already seen it in her photos. This space looks amazing, I said. Feels like I've been here before. He smiled without hearing the weight in my voice. It's a vibe, right? This is where the magic happens. Yeah, I know. I brought a model with me, hired through a friend of a friend. She didn't know the full story, just that she was playing a role. My wife. For one shoot. Were what I asked. Pose like I instructed. She showed up 10 minutes in, tall, striking, in a black wrap dress and red lipstick. I'd chosen the exact outfit Cassie wore in one of Jude's shoots. I wasn't being subtle. I didn't want to be. Hey, she said, smiling. I'm Natalie. Jude's eyebrows rose slightly. Maybe something registered, but he just nodded. Let's roll. We started shooting. Slow at first. Standard couple stuff. Arm around the waist. Gaze into the distance. Soft laughs. Fake love. Then I leaned over and whispered, let's push it. More intensity. She nodded and followed my lead. We mimicked the same poses I'd seen in Cassie's shoot. The lean. The parted lips. The wrist drag along the collarbone. Jude's camera clicked like nothing felt off. He crouched, shifted, adjusted lights. Love that. Hold it. Eyes right here. Yes. He didn't even know he was helping me recreate every frame he once took of my wife, shot for shot, pose for pose. I could see it in his eyes. He was in his element, the seducer behind the lens, oblivious to who I was, until I handed him a print. One quick favor, I said as he adjusted his camera. Can you add your watermark to this one? He took the print without thinking. His fingers stopped. He stared down at it. It was Cassie, one of the original photos. Black lace. That smirk. That lighting. His own damn work. I watched his jaw tighten. He looked up at me slowly. Where'd you get this? He asked. I stepped closer. Smiled like it hurt. Thought it looked familiar. His eyes flicked back and forth. To me, to the model, back to the photo. I'm not Darren, I said, my voice low. I'm Trevor Lane, husband of the woman you turned into your personal portfolio. Silence. Thick. Charged. I could see the moment it clicked. The recognition. The panic. He tried to speak. Listen, man, Save it. I stepped closer, chest to chest. You don't get to speak until I say you can. My model stood silently by the curtain, watching with wide eyes. This wasn't a photo shoot, I said, voice steady. It was a setup. I pointed to the camera he'd left recording for BTS footage, still rolling. You've been filming since we walked in, right? For your social clips? Your little behind-the-scenes content? He glanced at it. Good. I told him I wanted the shoot to look like Betrayal. Jude stood frozen, still holding the print of Cassie like it might catch fire in his hands. I didn't flinch, didn't raise my voice, just kept feeding him lines, watching his ego battle his guilt, and his guilt lose every time. You okay? I asked, mock concern in my voice. You look like you've seen a ghost. He forced a chuckle, but it sounded like gravel. Look, man, I didn't know. You knew. I cut in. Calm. Precise. You knew who she was. You shot our wedding. And months later, you were shooting her. His mouth opened. Closed. He had nothing. Natalie, my stand-in wife, stood behind me, watching the scene unfold like a live theater performance. She didn't say a word. Just kept the dress tight and the lipstick perfect. I stepped toward the backdrop. Let's keep shooting. I've got one more pose in mind. Jude didn't move. I walked to the velvet couch, the same one Cassie laid across in those photos. Sat down just like she did. Leaned back, arm across the cushions. Natalie, come here. She walked over, heels clicking like a metronome. I posed her exactly like Cassie. Hand on my chest. Chin tilted. A look in her eyes that screamed possession. Then I looked at Jude. Well, he blinked. Slowly lifted the camera. It shook. He adjusted the focus. Hands trembling. Say it, I told him. What? Say what you always say. The line. That's it. Just like that. His lips twitched. For a moment, I saw the flicker of pride again, the part of him that loved the power of a lens. But then it died. Just like that, he muttered. The shutter clicked. Again. Again. Each photo, a mirror of the ones he took with Cassie. I was taking it back. Frame by frame. This lighting, I said, glancing around. It's really flattering. Makes you forget the rot underneath. He swallowed hard. I stepped off the set and walked to his desk. Tapped one of the monitors. Pulled up the raw files from our shoot. Add your watermark to this one, I said, pointing at the best shot. He hesitated. Why? Because this isn't about Cassie anymore, I said, turning to face him. This is about you. The truth was, I didn't need him to stamp his name. I already had what I came for. The footage, the expressions, the fear behind his fake charm. But making him mark it? That was poetic. He added it. I took a deep breath, watching the screen like it was a painting. That's art, I said. Jude stared at me, defeated. What are you going to do? I smiled. You'll see. I needed one more thing. Cassie in the room when it all came crashing down. Revenge doesn't work if no one's watching. It had to be her. In his studio, surrounded by their memories. And me, the loving, clueless husband, smiling like I still didn't know a damn thing. That was the setup. Now I just had to get her there. It started over breakfast. I slid a flyer across the table, one I'd made the night before, fake logo and all. Thought we could do something different for our anniversary, I said, sipping coffee. A surprise shoot. Cassie blinked, caught off guard. A shoot? Yeah, couples session. Just the two of us. Romantic. A little dramatic. It's been a while since we did anything just us. She looked down at the flyer. The studio name was made up, but the address? Very real. Same building. Same black curtain. Same velvet couch. Her eyes flicked up. You sure? Why wouldn't I be? I asked. You always said you love being in front of the camera. And it's not like I ever gave you that runway moment. She smiled, a little too quickly. No, I mean, yeah. It could be fun. I could see it in her eyes. That twitch of panic she was trying to bury under excitement. Only one problem, she said. I've got a campaign launch at work that week. Might be slammed. Come on, I said gently. Just an hour. It's our anniversary. Don't make me beg. She laughed, but it didn't reach her eyes. Okay. Fine. I'll move things around. Hook set. I kissed her cheek and stood to grab my keys. And just as I turned away, I heard her mutter under her breath. He already knows how to shoot me. My hand froze on the doorknob. She thought I didn't hear. She thought she was safe. But that one sentence, that quiet little crack, was louder than any confession she could have screamed. I left for work with a smile on my face and war in my chest. That night, I messaged Jude. Confirmed. She's coming. Thursday at 3. He replied. Got it. Prepping the space. You still want it recorded? Every second, I typed. No cuts. The next day, I stood in front of my closet, staring at the suit I wore on our wedding day. I hadn't touched it in years. I pulled it out. Tried it on. Still fit. And I thought, poetic. Let her walk into that studio thinking this was about love. Let her sit under those lights, see that lens, feel her ego bloom again. Let her think she was in control. The muse, the star, the untouchable. Let her pose. Because this time, the camera wasn't there to flatter her. It was there to expose her. When Cassie saw Jude, she smiled. When Jude saw me, he froze. She walked into the studio with that fake surprised gasp, already performing. Oh my God, she said, eyes lighting up. Jude forced a grin. Cassie, wow, small world. She looked at me like I'd just handed her a diamond. Babe, this is the photographer from our wedding, she beamed. How crazy is that? I smiled like a man who didn't already know. Must be fate, I said. Right place, right faces. She laughed, walked up to Jude, gave him a half hug. I watched his arms barely return it, stiff, uneasy, like he'd just been caught sleeping in a stranger's bed. Cassie didn't notice, or didn't care. She turned to me. You didn't tell me he was shooting us. I didn't know, I lied smoothly. Booked it online. Guess it's meant to be. Jude was pale, sweat starting to form under his collar. He wasn't saying much, probably wondering if I was going to explode. But I didn't. Not yet. I was calm, collected, surgical. Let's do something different, I said. Something bold. Cassie cocked her head. Bold how? I walked over to the backdrop, that same spot she posed in lace and shadows. I want to recreate one of your private shoots, I said, voice light. Just for fun. Her whole body stiffened. She tried to play it off. What do you mean? I looked at Jude. He knows. He knows how to shoot you, right? Jude looked at the floor. Cassie gave a tight laugh. Babe, what are you talking about? I reached into my jacket and pulled out a print, one of the shots from her secret board. High contrast. Her back arched. The watermark clear as blood. I handed it to her. Like this. Silence. Cassie's face turned the color of chalk. She looked at the photo, then at Jude, then at me. What is this? You tell me, I said. I don't know where this came from, she stammered. Pinterest, I said, stepping closer. Your private board. Untouchable. I cracked the code. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I looked at Jude. He didn't move, didn't breathe, just watched everything collapse around him. You lied to my face, I said, turning back to her. And you used our wedding photographer to do it. Cassie swallowed hard. Trevor, please. I gave you everything, I said, quieter now. And you gave yourself to someone who leaves his signature on your skin like a goddamn receipt. She took a step back, voice cracking. It didn't mean anything. Then why are there 26 photos? Jude stepped in. Look, man, maybe we should. Shut up. He shut up. I walked to the camera, pressed a button. The red light came on. Cassie flinched. What are you doing? I looked into the lens, then back at them. Let's do something bold, I said. Let's document this betrayal. Just like that, Jude said, lifting the camera, sweating now. Cassie tried to smile, tried to play along. But her eyes were darting everywhere. The lights, the lens, me. Like a cornered animal that hadn't yet realized the cage was locked from the inside. I stood there beside her, hand on her waist, watching her bones tighten under my grip. Relax, I whispered. You've done this before. She flinched. Click. Jude's hands trembled on the shutter, but he kept going. Like if he followed directions, he might survive this. He didn't realize he'd already been captured. Cassie leaned in, tried to shift the mood. Trevor, can we just stop for a second? I turned to her, all smiles. Why? This is your comfort zone, isn't it? Lighting. Fabric. Deceit. Trev, she started. I cut her off by pulling out my phone. Tapped it once. The hidden Pinterest board opened. I tilted the screen toward her and held it steady, the images spilling out like blood on tile. Photo after photo. Cassie in lace. Cassie on the couch. Cassie smirking through betrayal like it was a love language. I flipped it toward Jude. You recognize your own work, right? You signed it. He didn't respond. You ever watermark your regrets? Cassie stepped back. I can explain. No, I said, stepping forward, voice low. You can perform. That's what you've been doing this whole time, isn't it? Her lip quivered. It wasn't like that. Then what was it, Cassie? I asked. Just some aesthetic experiment? Some late-night creative escapism? Because the timestamps say otherwise. She looked at Jude, eyes begging him to speak. But Jude? He just lowered the camera and stepped away. This wasn't his studio anymore. It was mine now. I walked to the laptop, pulled up the live feed from the camera's connected monitor. There, I said, pointing at the screen. That's the real Cassie Lane. Not the influencer. Not the wife. Just a liar caught in 4K. Trevor, she pleaded. Please don't do this. Why not? I asked. You already did. She reached for my arm. I pulled away. You posed for him, I said. Now pose for me. Jude stood in silence. Broken. Beaten. The camera hung at his side now, like a dead limb. Cassie wiped her tears. Tried one last trick. I did it for me, she whispered. I needed to feel something. I leaned in. You're about to feel everything. I turned the camera toward them. Smile, I said, voice flat. This one's for my lawyer. Cassie's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Jude took a shaky step back, hands raised like I was pointing a gun instead of a lens. No one needs to see this, he said. They already are, I replied, nodding to the blinking red light on the second camera, the one I'd hidden behind the plant near the window. Cassie turned to look, and froze. The little red dot. The silent witness. She spun toward me. Trevor, what the hell is this? This, I said, is insurance. She stepped forward, tears cutting through her makeup. You're recording us? Jesus, that's illegal. No, I said, cool as ice. This is a creative project. Remember? Drama. Raw emotion. The story behind the shot. Jude looked like he was about to vomit. This can't leave the room. It won't, I said, lifting the camera again. Unless it needs to. Cassie's hands trembled. Please, don't do this. You did this, I shot back. You chose him. You lied. Repeatedly. I'm just documenting the consequences. I turned the camera to Jude. Go on. Say something. Defend yourself. He looked down. Silent. I guess you're better at directing than acting, I said. That's fine. I'll do the talking. I tapped the phone in my pocket. Sent the video clip. Cassie lunged for me. Who did you send that to? I stepped back. Nobody yet. And then, the door opened. We all turned at once. A tall woman walked in, phone in hand, high ponytail swinging like a guillotine. Cassie's influencer friend. The one who always tagged her in hashtag couple goals posts and beach yoga reels. Oh, she said, stopping mid-step. Are we not doing the anniversary reel anymore? Cassie's face shattered. You said no one would be here, she hissed at Jude. He raised his hands. I didn't know. I turned to the friend. You know how to upload to TikTok? She blinked, confused. Obviously. Perfect, I said, tossing her a flash drive. This one's got potential. Cassie's scream cracked through the studio. The video hit 100K views before they even left the studio. 3 angles. High res. Clean audio. One woman breaking. One man shrinking. And me. Calm. Collected. Narrating the collapse of a picture-perfect lie. The caption was simple. When your wife's secret photo shoot turns into a public exposure. Hashtag untouchable. Hashtag lies in 4K. Hashtag happy anniversary. By the time we got home, Cassie's phone was a war zone of notifications. Ping, ping, ping. Comments, tags, DMs from brands, friends, strangers. Half the influencer community had already weighed in. I didn't say a word. I let her sit in the passenger seat, shaking, scrolling, watching her empire fall apart one share at a time. It was supposed to be private, she whispered. It wasn't supposed to go viral. I kept driving. At home, she ran upstairs, slammed the bedroom door. I didn't follow. Instead, I sat on the couch and opened my email. From Cassie Lane collabs at. Subject, urgent, contract termination. One after another. We're suspending your campaign. Due to recent publicity, we're severing our partnership. This does not align with our brand values. Sponsorships dropped her like a lit match. Her face had been her business. Now it was her downfall. By the next morning, her follower count had tanked by 10,000. Someone made a meme. Her in lingerie, Jude behind the camera, with the caption, tag a friend who needs a creative outlet. Brutal. She came down around noon, looking like a ghost in sweatpants. You have to take it down, she said, voice cracking. Please, Trevor. I looked up slowly. Why? It's ruining everything. I stood, walked over, leaned in close. You ruined everything. She tried to reach for my hand. I pulled away. I'll do anything, she whispered. Just please, make it stop. I stared at her. You want it down? She nodded. Then I want to trade. What kind of trade? I pulled out my phone. A confession. On camera. You tell the truth. All of it. The affair. The shoots. The lies. Your voice. Your face. No filters. Her jaw dropped. Are you serious? As a heart attack. You want to humiliate me? No, I said. You already did that yourself. I just want the truth documented. Like you documented everything else. She backed away, eyes wide. That's cruel. Cruel, I repeated. You let a man watermark your body and told me it was a girl's night. Cassie didn't respond. Just stood there, shivering in the wreckage she made. Confess, I said, and I'll consider taking it down. She wiped her face. Fine, she said. You want raw? You'll get it. Cassie stood in front of the camera with mascara already streaking down her cheeks. She didn't bother with a filter this time. No ring light. No soft background music. Just her, a raw lens, and the truth she'd tried to bury under hashtags and honeymoon edits. This is Cassie Lane, she began, voice trembling. And this is me being honest. She took a shaky breath. Looked down, then back up. I cheated on my husband. Multiple times. With our wedding photographer. I lied. I hid things. I betrayed someone who loved me more than I ever deserved. Her eyes flicked to me, off camera. I said nothing. I let my need for attention, for validation, completely destroy the one real thing I had. She continued. And I wish I could say it was a mistake, but it wasn't. I made a choice. Over and over again. She paused, swallowed hard. I thought I could have both. The husband who grounded me and the man who made me feel reckless. Wanted. Like I was more than just a wife. She started crying then. Not the cute kind. Ugly, breathless sobs. I lost everything, she whispered. My brand. My following. The respect of people I cared about. But the worst part is knowing I broke the heart of the only person who actually showed up for me. I didn't blink. Cassie looked into the lens like she was staring at a coffin. Trevor, I don't deserve forgiveness. I don't expect it. But I needed to say this out loud. Because silence isn't an apology. She stared for a second longer. Then, I don't deserve him. And just like that, the video ended. I uploaded it. No music. No edits. No comments disabled. It hit 1 million views in 3 days. The internet didn't let her off the hook. But they didn't burn her either. Because the confession? It was real. And that mattered more than the lingerie and lies. Some influencers weighed in. One of them posted, "She finally influenced something honest." Jude. Radio silence. His comment section turned toxic. Brides pulled their bookings. A wedding blog took down his entire portfolio. I told the truth. Just used the medium she loved most. And now? Now everyone else knew the version of her I'd been living with. The unfiltered one. Jude tried clapping back with an artsy post. A moody black and white self-portrait. Bare shoulders. Sad eyes. Some bullshit caption about the price of creating intimacy and how not every truth belongs to the public. He thought he could spin it. That he'd be forgiven if he made it poetic. But what Jude didn't know was, I had the uncropped shots. The raw footage from our fake session. His voice on camera. His smirks. His lines. The way he'd adjusted the straps on my model's dress and said, "This one's got Cassie energy." How he chuckled when the lighting hit her just right and whispered, "Man, I should charge extra for this kind of chaos." The way he called Cassie fire when she's angry. Like she was a product, not a person. I clipped it. Added subtitles. Then I leaked it. Not anonymously this time. I sent it to every wedding blog, every bridal vendor, every influencer Cassie had ever tagged. Subject line: "You might want to reconsider featuring Jude Serrano." The damage was instant. His apology post? Ratioed into oblivion. His client list? Canceled faster than you could say styled shoot. Someone even made a TikTok trend. Hashtag Jude said, where people lip-synced his voiceover while standing in front of garbage fires. He tried to disable comments, then deleted his Instagram. By Friday, his website redirected to a blank white page that said, "Studio closed indefinitely." That's the thing about artists who build their reputation on illusion. Once you show the unedited version of them, it's over. He thrived behind the lens. So I dragged him in front of it. Cassie messaged me the day Jude's site went dark. "Did you have to go that far?" I didn't reply. Because far? He went that far the moment he asked my wife to undress and then signed his name at the bottom. I just returned the favor. I deleted the board. Not to forgive her, but to end her last illusion. It was a Tuesday night. Quiet. Almost identical to the night I first found it. Same soft buzz of her phone on the counter. Same curated playlist humming in the background. But now the air between us was cold. Thin. Fragile. Cassie sat at the kitchen table, fingers wrapped around a mug she wasn't drinking from. She hadn't posted in weeks. No sponsored skincare. No morning routines. No sunset yoga. Her brand had become a black hole of silence. I stood at the counter, phone in hand, staring at that cursed word. Untouchable. The board that held every lie. Every pose. Every click. Every night she said, "I'm working late," while Jude lit her like a movie scene. I tapped edit. Cassie looked up. "What are you doing?" "Finishing something." She opened her mouth, but I didn't wait. I hit delete. Just like that, it was gone. No backup. No archive. No more. She flinched. "I kept it longer than I should have," I said. "Not because I missed it, but because it reminded me who you really were." "Trevor," she whispered. "I'm not that person anymore." "No," I said. "You're worse. You're someone who let me keep loving you while you unraveled everything behind my back." Her eyes welled up. I lost myself. "No," I said again. "You found yourself. In his camera. In his studio. On that couch." She didn't deny it. I stepped closer. "I filed the papers," I said quietly. "The divorce is official as of next month." Her breath caught. "Trevor, please. You don't get to ask me for anything else." She looked at me like she was drowning. Like she thought one more lie might float. "I never wanted to hurt you." "But you did," I said. "With intent. With planning. With props." Silence stretched. "I'll move out by the weekend," she said finally. I nodded. She stood, slowly. Walked past me, then paused at the door. "You ruined everything," she said. I didn't even look at her. "No," I replied. "I revealed it." They say revenge is ugly. Mine looked incredible in high resolution. Cassie moved out that weekend. 3 boxes. 2 fake apologies. One last glance over her shoulder like she still expected me to chase her. I didn't. She left behind a few things: a curling iron, a stack of brand PR boxes she never opened, and the dress she wore in the first photo Jude took of her. I burned it in the fire pit that night. Watched the silk twist into ash. The divorce went through quietly. No lawyers. No fight. She didn't have the stomach for it. Not after the world saw the raw footage of her double life in cinematic clarity. Jude vanished. Deleted every platform. Someone sent me a screenshot of him working retail in a camera store 2 towns over. No one asked him for autographs anymore. And me? I started smiling again. Not right away. Not all at once. But one morning, I caught my reflection while brushing my teeth, and I didn't see the husband who'd been fooled. I saw the man who ended it. The man who turned betrayal into art. It's funny. I never deleted the final video. The full edit. The confrontation. The confession. The collapse. I saved it in a folder titled, "The Day She Showed Me Who She Was." I never rewatched it. I didn't need to. But every now and then, when someone brings up Cassie Lane, the influencer who vanished after that wild studio video, I smile. I see her sometimes in coffee shops or downtown. Sunglasses on. Head low. Like someone trying to outrun the frame she built. She doesn't say hi. Neither do I. But I know what she remembers. Because the internet never forgets. The final shot from our anniversary session, the one where she's mid-tier, trying to hide her face, and Jude is in the background, camera frozen in his hand like it betrayed him too, went viral again last month. A meme account captioned it, "When the group project is due and you did all the lying." I couldn't stop laughing. I sipped my coffee and read every comment, every repost, every time someone wrote, "Damn, that man really said smile for my lawyer." And I thought to myself, good lighting, clean framing, excellent exposure.